My latest appearance on Piers Morgan Uncensored was crazy. Okay, it went completely off of the rails. And now with that B-roll, there's just a lot too much of me on screen right now. So here's the deal. We talked about more in the bonus show. You can get access to the bonus show by clicking that join button below. But this story about ABC News settling the defamation case with Donald Trump, paying Trump $15 million for going towards his presidential library to sort of brush that off and to stop that process. And I'll give more of my thoughts as we go along. You'll hear some of them here. But essentially, ABC is afraid of Trump. They're bending the knee. And as we'll get into throughout the segment, it's ridiculous to assert that Trump wasn't found liable of what he was because of this determination, or that it's not true. The judge clarified that while in a legal, technical sense, as I've always explained, Trump was found liable of sexual abuse, a very specific thing there. In the way we speak commonly, the thing he was found liable for is rape. Stephanopoulos on ABC had said that. Trump sued him for it, for saying that he was found liable of rape when it was sexual abuse. And we'll talk about it more as we go along. But a crazy thing that now MAGA is taking to say, see, we were right about Trump in this case. While you watch, please do click the subscribe button if you want to support this show. This first little part is just a funny thing to get us warmed up.
Innocent. The real men in this country I'm talking to. Maybe not alluding to.
You're going to trigger them.
Huh?
Triggered.
You guys don't even accept the outcome of the 2020 election, and you're trying to say we're triggered? You guys are the biggest babies in the history of all of mankind. Like, I don't know.
Which is why you're the one resorting to name calling, right?
Okay, so Destiny, you can see, is on the panel with me, and then two MAGA folks, and then Piers. And here, she directed a point about us not being true men, and I was just kind of confused that was her. That was the argument. I don't know. That was weird. So that's just fun. All right. Lighthearted. Now we get into the real stuff with this ABC defamation case determination.
Get it wrong. That's not even true.
Why they apologized and paid him $15 million?
Because they didn't want to go through discovery and months of a lawsuit.
Why though?
Why? Full licenses for people in the media. He said that Stephanopoulos said that he felt like Trump raped her. That he raped the woman. She was held liable for rape. He penetrated her with his fingers. Now in New York, I think the civil statute or whatever is for sexual assault and not rape per se. But like, it's not like he was wrong. He's not paying up because he thinks that he lied about what he said.
He was wrong. It was not. It was not liable for rape.
It's obvious. It's obvious that Trump's constant promises to go after the outlets that wrong him, his constant promises to get the government to come down hard, his quote, not mine, on MSNBC, is what now outlets, unfortunately, like ABC, are afraid of. So they're wanting this to be over quickly as opposed to going to war with Trump, who's explicitly targeted them. And it's crazy that y'all are more outraged that Stephanopoulos used one term that in common parlance is synonymous with sexual assault, instead of the fact that Trump was found liable. Trump was found liable of sexual abuse. No, the judge.
I'm sorry, Luke.
Just laugh and then go.
Luke, you're making exactly
clarified.
You're making the same mistake, Luke.
Means.
With respect, you're making the same mistake. It is not the same thing. Otherwise, there would not be different categories. Why did the judge clarify that? Hang on. There would not be different categories of sexual assault and rape. They are different crimes. So if you accuse somebody of the more serious offense...
Right, and then he's going on to say, then that is you defaming them. When literally, again, ABC to resolve this so they don't go through a drawn-out fight, since Trump has promised he's going to specifically target ABC, and Destiny brought up that also the discovery process could reveal other things that maybe they thought were unflattering or something, but what is absolutely the case, regardless of what ABC decided to do with a relatively small amount of money to just end this and not be actively in a, not literal, but war with the sitting president once he is. Regardless of that, it is remarkable in a terrible way that MAGA seems more outraged that Stephanopoulos and me dared to say Trump was found liable of rape when the judge literally clarified that, as we've looked at a bunch of times, then the fact that Trump was found liable for sexual abuse. And in a technical legal sense, that's the wording. But in how we speak about such things, that term the R word, if they don't want me to say it, is an umbrella term that we use in common parlance to describe what Trump was found liable for, which is why the judge even clarified it. We've looked at that reporting over and over and over and over and over again. Talked about it more on the bonus show if you want more specifics. But we continue forward because these segments always get really long.
That is absolutely
so right
not
that there's
defamation.
There's a specification between what the jury's deciding on sexual
settlement.
Hey, you guys, neither one of you guys know anything about a libel case. Okay,
Wait,
this is a defamation
how about
case.
The two MAGA people on the panel? Are you as outraged that Trump was found liable for sexual abuse?
Hang on, let Grant respond.
For you.
Let Grant respond.
Yeah.
Alex Brito is Donald Trump's lawyer on this defamation case. They settled this case in less time.
All right, and then this guy, Greg, is his first name? Grant. Sorry, Jane just told me that. Grant. His first name is Grant, and he's something. Okay, you're gonna see later. I've never interacted with him before, and let me see just to get the full name here, if I could. You have Grant Cardone. Yeah, now I recognize that name, but he said some truly wacky things throughout this, so we'll get to that. But to charge forward on the same topic.
Yeah, but Destiny, you call Trump a coward. What could be more cowardly if, as you say, there was no defamation, Stephanopoulos was right? What could be more cowardly than a major... Hang on, Luke, I'm not talking to you. What could be more cowardly, Destiny, than a major network in America, mainstream media network, just caving to Donald Trump and giving him a big check?
Is this a game we're playing? Maybe the other people, Luke might know. I don't know about the other two morons here. You're a big boy. You work in this field, and I know that you're old enough to be smart enough to know this. I don't know. We're just playing a game right now, okay? If you have a defamation case facing you like that, you know that discovery could unveil who knows what. Not necessarily illegal conduct, but just stuff that can go to the press that might make you look bad. Trump might get more than $15 million of earned media just from the treasure troves of the discovery process of that case. Why not just pay out $15 million and walk away from it? By the way, if you were falsely accused of rape and that was a totally false accusation, do you really think that Donald Trump, a guy who has spent how many hundreds of millions of dollars between all of his different lawsuits, would walk away with $15 million? Of course not.
Yeah. So, okay. It is really wild. If you're just watching shows like mine, you might not have a sense of just how crazy MAGA's going on this. They're so hyped by this outcome. You understand why, but they're trying to use it to justify saying that whole case doesn't matter. All that they're arguing over is how dare Stephanopoulos say Trump was found liable of rape when the judge clarified, commonly that's what we refer to it as, when in a legal sense it was sexual assault. What? That's not a win. That's crazy that you are more outraged by that distinction than the fact that even with the most technical legal terms possible, Trump did something terrible, as was litigated in front of a jury. And then what I said there was, yes, I do think ABC is exhibiting cowardice. And so that's why I'm proudly proclaiming, not that Trump has any interest in this. I'm probably too small time for that. But at one point, you're going to see Piers ask me this. I have said Trump was found liable of rape many times because of the judge clarification. Sue me, please. And we'll take this to court. And you can discovery your ass off. And it'll be great. And to prove defamation, by the way, in the case of Stephanopoulos, as we went over in the bonus show, you have to get 3 primary factors, right? The thing has to be false, and not just false, but knowingly a lie, right? Knowingly false coming from the person. So Stephanopoulos would have had to say something false, which he didn't, and would have had to say something false knowingly, maliciously, and you would have to prove damages, which doesn't make any sense because Trump won the election. So how could you prove that this hurt his election chances? And the 2 and 3 don't matter because number 1, this is not false. ABC wanted to quickly resolve it and don't want Trump to go after them. That's what we're experiencing right now. That's it. That's why Trump threatens them, is so they'll do stuff like this. If they took this to court, I would put my life on them winning. But they want to be in his good graces, apparently, after he said he was going to try to get them off the air. Maybe this is how they're resolving it. Like Mika and Joe also were trying to resolve it. Then you have this.
This, Piers.
Just to add one other point on this, because I've brought it up multiple times with you, Piers, I would love to get an answer on it relating to this. Is there any outrage? Is there any outrage that Trump today was saying, yeah, and this is just the beginning. We're going to go after all these different outlets and Seltzer for doing a poll that Trump didn't like. Trump says he wants to go after. And he specifically said the government should come down hard on MSNBC. That's exactly against what I know the two other MAGA folks on the panel say constantly about their principles, which is pro freedom of the press, but then Trump's constantly talking about the press in ways that prove that's
I think,
very much not his
I think if on the Democrat side, if you go after someone like Donald Trump relentlessly and you try and imprison him relentlessly and you try and ruin his life and you try and do everything you can to destroy him and incarcerate him, and then he wins and he flatlines you all in the election, yeah, a little part of him is probably thinking, yeah, there's going to be a bit of pain. Sorry, going to be a bit of payback. Sorry.
Piers,
all right, cool. I like the Constitution, unlike y'all then. I don't know.
Yeah, and meanwhile, your guy, President Biden, is out there pardoning half of America, including his criminal son. So the high moral ground has just disintegrated.
None of that is unconstitutional. And by the way, Hunter Biden is not even implicated in crimes related to Joe Biden.
Wait, how is that not true?
Well, hang on. Actually, Destiny.
Think about that. Piers goes, yeah, let's do it. Trump should induce pain for media outlets that did coverage he didn't like of them. And some people will say, Luke, he has a right to bring lawsuits. True. But he has said the exact wording, as I think you're going to see in one of these clips, that is disqualifying, which is the government should come down hard on MSNBC. That was his wording. No one who understands the First Amendment, how the government should not infringe on our freedom of speech, freedom of press rights, would say that or believe that. And Piers' argument is, well, they did a lot of negative coverage of him, so now they have to pay. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. It is something of the world we're living in.
That people are so comfortable lying with impunity because they never get called out on these shows. It drives me insane.
Yeah, but when your side lie, like George Stephanopoulos, you don't call it lying. So what is a lie? Is a lie only when Republicans lie?
Most people would agree in common parlance that was rape. Yes, I think it's totally fine to say that.
The judge clarified that. The judge literally clarified that that's the case. What Destiny just said, the judge literally clarified that the way we speak about these terms in a legal sense, it's not, but in the way we speak commonly about these words, what Trump was found liable of is what we refer to as rape, even if in the legal sense that's not what he was found liable for.
Do you want me to send Trump a clip of you saying that?
That is not what the judge said at all.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you keep...
It's so funny.
Caitlin?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I won't be cowards like ABC.
It's so funny how you gentlemen...
Yeah, wait, what is this where she says what part's this?
Keep referring to us as the MAGA people on this panel. You call us morons. I'm going to start referring to you.
I didn't use that term, but Destiny did. And I denounce him for it. How dare he?
You gentlemen as snowflakes over there. Maybe you haven't looked at the post-election polling in this country, but guess what? The men in this country, the young men in this country showed up for Donald Trump in droves. And you want to know why, gentlemen? Because they were sick of being emasculated, because they were sick of being lied to, and they were sick of being guilty until proven innocent. The real men in this country I'm talking to, maybe not alluding to.
Yeah, so that got to that part, which my manhood felt attacked. I don't know what to do. So now I'm blanking on. Oh, it's funny. Piers just doesn't respond to the points. I feel like it's not. I know I'm me, so I'm gonna see it from my perspective. But I feel like when I watch this as an objective observer, they'll make points, and I'll try to respond to them, and then I'll make points, and they'll just ignore them and go back to a talking point. At one point, I'm talking about how it's unconstitutional for the government to target media outlets that they don't like. And Piers starts talking about how Biden pardoned a bunch of people. I criticize his pardon of his son. It's still constitutional. He still has the authority to do it, even if I don't like it. That's different than unconstitutional behavior. We're in a wacky world where people are just detaching altogether from principle so they can fully attach to partisanship.
Government like they tried last time. But no, I mean, you're a Democrat. You go back to work. That's all you could do. I mean, wait till the next election. Wait till midterms. Do what you can.
Why is that your
Democrats
takeaway,
work?
Piers? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, let me go back a little bit because Piers asked this question that he loves to ask a bunch of times. And here's our response.
Anthony, here's what I would say generally about the reaction to Trump's win. It's been noticeable for the extreme lack of any protests. No marches, no big protests. It's like you guys have just thrown the towel in. Have you given up collectively? The resistance seems to be over.
Trump won the election. What are you going to do? I guess if you're a conservative and the other side wins the election, then I guess you try to overturn it or you try to coup the government like they tried last time. But no, you're a Democrat. You go back to work. That's all you could do. Wait till the next election. Wait till midterms. Do what you can.
Why is that your takeaway, Piers? That doesn't make any sense.
No, I'll tell you why my takeaway.
Because I think respect the election results. It's so weird.
No, because last time you didn't. Last time you took to the streets in massive numbers and city after city around America protesting and screaming about Trump. This time it's been nothing. It just makes me think you've all lost the stomach for the fight.
I feel like last time you told me that people were crying on the internet.
What's that, Luke?
I think last time we went over this, you said that there are a lot of liberals crying and we're sensitive and we're combusting.
Well, there's a few of you left on the internet, but that's about it. But when it comes to any sort of...
We're going to get to work on trying to oppose his bad policies when they pop up. There's just no need to have the MAGA-type hyperbolic reaction where you get violent or where you question the results for 4 years and stuff like that.
Right. You don't think that's how you all reacted in 2016 when he won?
Do you think that's how the conservatives acted in 2020 when they tried to steal the election?
Well, 2020...
That'll be overturned, by the way.
Well, just to be clear, Trump did, in my estimation...
The 2020 election?
Just to be clear, Trump did not have the election stolen. Trump lost the election in 2020 because of the pandemic. I told him...
Grant said whenever Destiny brought up the 2020 election, that's going to be overturned. What? I feel like they're going to overturn it in their heads, and that's going to be the justification for Trump to get another term, which Steve Bannon was talking about. But then that just this time watching it back for the second time, I think there's a chance he meant, because he said I heard something January 6th. I guess he's going to, he means that the rioters is going to be overturned, meaning they're going to be pardoned. Just weird language. Because he said 2020 election, Grant said that's going to be overturned. That's something. Then we move to this.
Like people, Langford came out and literally said, yes, we had a bill ready to go. Donald Trump pulled the plug on it.
I'm sure we'll all be happy that this is on the border, by the way. And just to wrap up the last topic, I don't know why Piers keeps going back to this. Oh, it must be proof that people have just given up on resisting Trump or everyone loves Trump or something because people aren't protesting in the streets as much as 2016. And that's your takeaway from the difference between how we're reacting versus how MAGA reacted last time? Not, oh, I should credit them with respecting the results of elections and not trying to overthrow them like happened with Trump and his movement. Maybe we're not out taking to the streets right now because it's less of a shock. We've learned that a lot of the country wants this. 2016, it was the first time. Now we get that we have a lot of work to do. But the very fact that he won is not prompting us to do, I guess, mass protests. But we're going to protest as much as we need to over the next few years. Then this is on the border. We've seen a
I'm sure. Pull the plug on it.
I'm sure we'll all be happy that we've seen a massive plummet in border crossings in the last few months. And to the point that's previously made, there was legislation that could have done more. But even aside from that, there's been massive progress made. So Trump would be
how has there been progress made if Trump stopped any... Well, hang on. If Trump stopped any progress... Sorry, hang on, Luke. Yeah. If Trump stopped any progress, how are you making progress in the last few months?
No, I'm saying after finally, which I think they should have learned this lesson earlier, finally Democrats realized they weren't going to get support from Congress. Then Biden did what he could just through the executive
branch. So why didn't you do that before?
Yeah, I agree with you. He should have done it earlier. Right, but he was thinking we could do a more systemic solution.
It was bad politics by a president who's asleep at the wheel.
The issue with doing
systemic
things
solution.
right now,
Yeah.
The issue right now, we're crying over border wall stuff being sold. The issue with doing things by executive order is that things that can be done with executive order can be rescinded with executive order.
Right.
This way that we've approached border and immigration policy.
Right. So I think Destiny disagreed with what I was saying, sort of. But that was a part of my point, was that Biden should have done executive actions more aggressively earlier, because clearly some of them have made a positive impact on the border situation. But that can also be running parallel to the fact that it is not insane they wanted to do something congressionally in law that would be more permanent and more systemic, because then we just do this flip-flop and everything can be quickly overturned and things aren't as cemented, aren't as comprehensive, and won't have as impactful of an outcome. So it makes sense they thought Congress would help. Then Republicans obstructed that because of Trump, which is the part that we're blaming him for. But then I don't blame Trump for the fact that I believe Biden should have shown a more aggressive, should have shown himself to take the issue more seriously earlier, even with the immigration reform stuff that was proposed. Clearly there was too many months that passed by where he wasn't doing something and showing the American people he was taking it more seriously. But those two things can be true at the same time. And then it's infuriating when this happens a lot in debates with me, where I'm just, like I said, principle over partisanship, but I'm willing to go, hey, here's a little critique I have for my own guy, if we want to word it that way. But then I also really want y'all to understand how horrible the approach is from your person and why he's worse. And then they'll go, oh, we'll accept your criticism and we'll reject any criticism of our side. We won't critically engage with our side, but we'll let you with yours. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. Then more on the border.
And address the problem, not these temporary actions that the president can do via executive order. We shouldn't champion when that happens. Republicans used to be opposed to all of this encroaching federal power from the executive branch, but I guess now when it's Donald Trump, they celebrate it.
And then one just little stat to end us with, I'm sure they'll also credit the Biden administration with releasing less migrants with criminal records in the country than the Trump administration. You can look.
I think when you let in 10 million illegal immigrants in 4 years, you don't really get.
I'm just saying less undocumented immigrants.
You don't get to take any victory laps, Luke. Sorry, I'm afraid that's it.
You're saying your concern was about criminals. Okay.
My concern is about safety and security, as always. You've got to have a secure border. And I'm saying
that Trump actually released.
As Ronald Reagan said, if you don't have a secure border, you don't have a country. We've got to leave it there. Always good to talk to you all. Thank you very much indeed. Well, returning to Uncensored now is the Harvard mathematician.
What? People are talking point machines. You brought up undocumented immigrants, so I'm going to say that there is 10 million people, which isn't true, by the way, but that have been let in and that I want safety. No, I'm just saying Trump made his top issue not just undocumented immigration, but undocumented immigration, and he would do so in vile ways rhetorically, but specifically as it pertains to people who engage in criminality. So I'm saying, interesting stat that I've gone over, which is, as Newsweek points out, Trump released more migrants with criminal records than Biden. This has to do with what the two administrations were prioritizing with those things, but and then the response is 10 million people. Again, wrong. Why don't you engage with that? Wouldn't that a little bit move you? That, maybe saying that Biden has this horrible record on everything because of criminality among undocumented immigrants that is statistically lower than native born. But, you know, the whole conversation. But still, how is that not at least important in your analysis? Then I have one other segment here.
We don't get told. Are you not slightly twitchy that there's something very odd going on?
And this is on the drones. The drones in the sky over New Jersey.
Not really. No, there's a billion different things that you could photograph at any point in the country at any point in time. I don't know why we're obsessed with feeling like we're constantly under threat of being, destroyed or invaded by drones or invaded by, manufactured hurricanes or George Soros or vaccine. It's just like the fear economy where we have to be afraid of every single new video that's posted. If these things started shooting missiles at us or something crazy like that happened, then yeah, that would be a huge problem, obviously. But I assume, and it's been stated by the authorities in New Jersey, that the federal government is looking into it. All you do is wait for answers.
I mean, Grant, what should be done about them in the meantime? I mean, people are going to start taking action, aren't they? They're going to start shooting at these things, aren't they?
Number one, the reason to be fearful is late 2019, it was whispered that there was a thing called COVID being exported. A bat, didn't know where it was coming from, this place called Wuhan. A year later, by the way, Donald Trump loses the election because of mail-in ballots, conveniently. And here we are today, after an election, before an inauguration. We have drones flying at night, not during the day. That would suggest infrared, looking for something. I would suggest a black swan event is being planned to disrupt Donald Trump in year one and to put him back on his heels. So when Destiny says everybody's scared, George Soros, dude, there's plenty of reasons for America to be on high alert right now. The U.S. government should be trusted with one thing, to lie to the American people, because they repeatedly lie to the American people.
All right, Luke Beasley, I mean, that's a pretty...
When Trump is the...
So the argument there, and you'll see my response, is that the drones that every video I've seen has been airplanes or drones that are abiding by regulations, FAA regulations, and could just be a company testing drones. Or maybe it's a military test. I don't know. I don't care that much. But even if you do a lot, okay, you probably don't jump to those drones have something to do with an attack, I guess, that would be structured by Democrats to hurt Trump in the first year. Like how COVID helped them steal the election. Oh, Grant. Oh, mister. I wasn't familiar with you before, but boy, am I now. This is something.
The government, does he lie to the American people too, or is it just when Democrats are president?
Right now, we're talking about drones over New Jersey that no one can explain, and you want to make sense of it. Okay, the reason you can't shoot them out of the air.
Before you just mentioned COVID in 2019, that was Trump who was president, right? That was his administration. So did Trump lie to us about COVID coming from China?
I don't think you nor anybody on the panel or anyone listening or watching right now suggests that Donald Trump created the Wuhan virus.
I never said that, but you said that apparently people knew about it. It's just weird that right now the current administration is being blamed.
Drones by law cannot fly above 400 feet by law. So look, we know we see something in the sky, right? You agree with that? What is it?
Most of the videos that I've seen.
All right, let me bring in Luke, because you've been listening to this. I mean, look, Grant, on one level, you might say, well, Grant's just putting out conspiracy theories, but that's what happens. Yeah, but okay, you don't actually know that because we don't have the official explanation. And the longer it goes on, the more theories are going to fly around. And one of them, by the way, one of them is going to be right.
Yeah, but I mean like the official
story. Hang on, let me bring in Luke. Hang on, Destiny. Let me bring in Luke.
That's kind of the whole way that people like Grant do media is you make a bunch of these bold predictions. People forget months later when the thing you said never actually happened. So there's going to be some sort of crazy thing that hurts Trump's first year and the drones are a part of that. He can just lightly throw that out, freak people out. We'll probably get a more clear answer that's not that provocative very quickly, and then Grant will move on and keep making more predictions. People like him, I don't know actually him specifically, but I've heard sort of in the MAGA space a lot of bold statements right before the election about how the Democrats were never going to accept it. There's no way they would possibly accept the election results, and they immediately do, as we talked about last time I was on here. So again, these false predictions are kind of nauseating, and it's not going to be that what I can tell you. But then I'll also say that a lot of
hang on, Luke. Let me just say, when it comes to false predictions, how about this one? I will never pardon my son, Hunter Biden. It's not going to happen.
Do you
That
think
was
he's
a
predicting
It
potential.
will
something?
not
It doesn't make
happen.
sense.
The president's not going to do it. What's the matter with you people? It's not going to happen. What happened
Wait,
to that
what?
false prediction?
And
That
the
was
day he said,
crazy.
oh,
Oh,
I said,
I missed the crazy Piers
Look how triggered you all get when I point that out. Look how you know the worst thing about what Joe Biden did
Wait,
there.
no.
He basically has caused
me
you guys to go into a triggering anaphylactic shock now
let me
for the
answer
rest
the
of your
question.
natural lives, because by doing
here's
what
the
he
difference,
did,
though.
he just ruined it for you. He ruined
Piers,
it.
for us, we actually stand on principle. So I don't know about Destiny's take on this, but I've said he shouldn't have done that.
Good.
And it seems like he misled us whenever he said he wasn't going to, because we actually can criticize the person who represents, our party during a time. Whereas on your end, you'll flip flop on every single principle to stay and
Hang
defend
on, when you say
Trump.
my end, I don't have an end, mate. I'm British. Just remind you.
I know.
Let me get,
I don't know why he does that. Just admit you're right wing on everything. Just it's fine. I mean, it's fine in the sense that now we could just talk about it. It doesn't make you automatically wrong. We still have to argue about it, but just admit what you are. I'm in the middle. That's why I sided with Grant when he said that this could all be a big false flag operation or something like COVID was. And then, whenever Biden does really good things, I'm going to tell you that. And then whenever he does something I don't like, I'll tell you that too. But they don't do that with Trump. So it's not a gotcha when our stance is not Biden never does anything bad. Our stance is he is so much better as a president than Trump. And that case stands even whenever he does something I disagree with, such as this one. And it's crazy people can't get their head around that. It's called principle, people. Whew. Crazy appearance. Let me know what you thought in the comments.